Welcome back to another episode of Train for Life Fitness Podcast. I am so ready to get into this one because, honestly, I feel like I've spent the last decade of my life just getting whiplash by nutritional advice.
You and everyone else.
Yeah.
A noisy world out there.
It's beyond noisy.
Yeah.
It's chaotic. One week I'm told to fast until noon. The next, breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Right.
Then carbs are the devil. Then carbs are essential. It feels like the goalposts aren't just moving. They're being teleported to a different stadium entirely.
Yeah, that is a very accurate description of the modern wellness landscape.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of dogma, a lot of absolutes, and very little nuance.
Exactly. And that's why I was so excited when I started digging into the material for today. We're doing a deep dive into this really comprehensive guide on adjusting nutrition for fitness goals.
Mm-hmm.
And right off the bat, the branding caught my eye. It's got this intense lion imagery and the slogan, "Let's roar."
It's striking, isn't it?
It is. But beyond the cool graphic, it signals something important. It feels like it's asking us to stop being passive grazers like sheep, just eating whatever is in front of us, and start being intentional.
Like a lion.
Exactly.
That's the perfect way to frame it. Let's roar implies agency. A lion doesn't hunt by accident. It has a target.
Right.
And that's the core thesis of this deep dive. Healthy eating isn't a static definition. It's a strategy. And that strategy has to change based on what you're physically demanding of your body.
Because what feeds a marathon runner might completely destroy a bodybuilder's progress and vice versa.
For sure.
So the mission today is to decode the 4 specific modes outlined in this guide: fat loss, muscle building, endurance, and general health.
Think of them as 4 different operating systems.
Yeah.
You can't run the wrong software and expect the hardware to work.
I love that analogy. Okay, so let's boot up the first operating system. The one that, let's be honest, probably 80% of people are trying to figure out right now.
Fat loss.
Fat loss. The weight loss protocol.
Now, usually when people switch into this mode, the first psychological trigger is just deprivation.
Oh, 100%. I immediately think of a sad, empty plate, a rumbling stomach, and just being miserable to be around.
And that is exactly why most diets fail. But what's fascinating about this guide is that it frames fat loss not as starvation, but as promoting fat loss while staying satisfied.
Which sounds like a paradox. How do you cut calories enough to lose weight but stay satisfied enough not to, raid the pantry at 10 p.m.?
It comes down to understanding caloric density versus nutrient density.
Mm-hmm.
The guide advises smaller, balanced meals, which is pretty standard, but the real magic is in the food selection.
Okay.
It explicitly points to whole foods, vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, whole grains.
We hear that term whole foods a lot, but
Okay.
let's drill down. Why does a whole food make me feel full when, a processed food just doesn't?
It's the matrix of the food itself. Whole foods come packaged with water and fiber. And fiber is so key here. It provides mechanical satiation.
It physically stretches the stomach.
It physically stretches the stomach wall, sending a signal to your brain that says, hey, we're good down here. Plus, it slows down digestion.
So it's a slow burn versus a flash fire.
Exactly. Now compare that to empty calories, processed chips or sugary snacks. They dissolve almost instantly. You get a massive calorie hit, but your stomach is physically empty an hour later.
And you're fighting biology.
You're fighting biology, and biology always wins.
That makes so much sense. Now, speaking of biology, we have to talk about carbohydrates. In the fat loss world, carbs are usually treated like radioactive material.
Right. Don't touch them. Don't look at them.
Exactly. But this guide seems a bit more measured.
It is. It doesn't say no carbs. It says watch your carbs. And that's a massive distinction. It emphasizes focusing on complex carbs.
Okay, let's unpack complex. The guide lists specifics like quinoa and sweet potatoes. Why those? Why not, white rice or instant mash?
It goes back to the glycemic index, or how fast that food spikes your blood sugar. When you eat a simple carb like a donut or white bread, your blood sugar just skyrockets.
Mm-hmm.
Your body pumps out insulin to manage it, and then your blood sugar crashes.
And that crash is the hangry moment.
Precisely. That crash triggers a craving for more quick energy. But sweet potatoes and quinoa, they're complex structures. It takes the body time to break them down.
So instead of a spike.
You get a steady trickle of energy. It prevents the crash.
So you're not riding an emotional roller coaster all day.
Right. You're managing your hormones as much as your calories.
Okay, there's one more lever for fat loss mentioned here, and it's probably the most unsexy one possible. Hydration.
Drink plenty of water. It's the advice everyone knows and everyone ignores.
Guilty. But why is it so critical for this specific goal?
Two reasons. One, your metabolism actually requires water to function. If you're dehydrated, the fat-burning process literally slows down.
How?
But secondly, it's appetite control. The brain often confuses thirst signals for hunger signals.
The classic, I'm hungry when you're actually just thirsty.
Exactly. If you feel a craving coming on, drink a glass of water and wait 20 minutes. Half the time, the craving just vanishes. It's the cheapest diet pill in the world.
Okay, so that's the fat loss protocol. High volume whole foods, fiber for fullness, complex carbs to manage insulin, and staying hydrated.
Pretty much.
Now, let's shift gears. Total mindset flip. Let's say I've leaned out, I'm feeling good, but now I want to get strong. I want to put on muscle. I assume I just keep eating healthy, maybe lift a few heavy things and hope for the best.
If you do that, you'll likely get stronger, but you probably won't get bigger. The muscle building mode requires a fundamental psychological shift that a lot of people struggle with.
Which is?
You often need to eat more.
Eat more. It sounds like a dream come true, but I know people get scared of this. They think, I just spent 6 months losing weight. I don't want to gain it all back.
And that fear is real. But you have to understand the difference between an anabolic state building up and a catabolic state breaking down. To build muscle tissue, which is metabolically expensive, you need a surplus.
You can't build a skyscraper if you only have enough bricks for a cottage.
That's a perfect analogy. So we need extra bricks. But I'm guessing those bricks shouldn't come from the drive-thru.
Probably not.
Correct. The guide emphasizes extra calories from nutrient-dense options. You want to fuel the muscle, not the fat stores. If you just eat junk, you'll gain weight, but it won't be the kind you want.
So let's talk about the construction materials. Protein is obviously the foreman on this job site.
Absolutely. Protein synthesis is the name of the game. The guide lists the classics: chicken, fish, eggs, and legumes. You need a constant stream of amino acids floating around in your blood to repair the damage you do in the gym.
Now, here is where the guide threw me a curveball. In fat loss, we were watching carbs. In muscle building, the command is to carb up.
Carb up. It's almost a 180.
Why the aggressive shift?
Because muscle building workouts are usually high intensity, you're lifting heavy, you're pushing to failure, and the primary fuel source for that kind of anaerobic activity is glycogen.
Sugar stored in the muscles.
Exactly. So if you go into a heavy squat session on a low-carb diet,
You're going to burn out.
you'll burn out. You won't have the explosive energy to push that last rep. And that last rep is where the growth happens. The guide suggests brown rice, oats, fruits, again, quality sources, but a higher volume.
You're filling the tank.
You're filling the tank so you can drive the car fast.
And what about fats? I feel like they get lost in the middle sometimes.
In a building phase, fats are your secret weapon for hitting that calorie surplus. They're just so energy dense, 9 calories per gram compared to 4 for protein or carbs.
And the guide highlights things like avocados, nuts.
Avocados, nuts, and olive oil. So if you're struggling to eat enough, which actually happens when you eat clean, a handful of nuts or half an avocado is an easy way to get those bricks in without feeling like you're force-feeding yourself.
It's about efficiency.
All about efficiency.
Okay, so we've covered the person trying to shrink and the person trying to grow. Now let's talk about the person trying to go.
The endurance athlete.
The runners, the cyclists, the triathletes.
The engine mode. This is a completely different physiological demand. We aren't trying to build mass. Honestly, extra mass just creates drag, and we aren't trying to cut. We are trying to sustain output.
And the guide pivots hard on carbs again here.
It does. If muscle building was carb up, endurance is carb loading.
Yeah.
It explicitly states carbs are the main energy source.
I feel like endurance runners are the only people left on Earth who get genuinely excited about a giant bowl of pasta.
And for good reason. If you are running for 2, 3, 4 hours, your body is burning through fuel at a terrifying rate. If you run out of glycogen, you hit what runners call the wall.
Or the bonk. It sounds funny, but I've heard it feels awful.
Oh, it's terrible. Your brain gets foggy, your legs feel like cement. It's total system failure. The guide advises whole grains, fruits, and veg to keep that glycogen tank topped off so you never hit that wall.
Now, there's a nuance in the hydration section here that I thought was really smart. In the fat loss section, it was just drink water.
Right.
Here, it introduces sports drinks.
Yes. And this is important because sports drinks get a bad rap in the general wellness world, mostly because they are just full of sugar.
Right. If you're sitting at a desk answering emails, you do not need a Gatorade.
Exactly. But if you're at mile 15 of a marathon, That sugar is immediate fuel, and more importantly, the electrolytes.
Can you explain the electrolyte thing? I think people hear the word but don't actually know what it means.
Okay, think of your body like a car. Water is the coolant. It keeps the engine from overheating. But electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium, they're the electrical wiring.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
They conduct the signals from your brain to your muscles. So if you sweat out all your salt, the wiring phrase, the signal doesn't get through, that's when you cramp.
Oh, okay.
That's when your muscles seize up. Water alone can't fix the wiring. You need the salt. That's why the guide explicitly mentions sports drinks for long, intense sessions.
It's context again. A sports drink is poison for the couch potato, but it's medicine for the marathoner. The guide also mentions pre-workout snacks for this group. Light snack, carbs, and protein. This is about preventing fatigue before it even starts, right?
Yes, you don't want to start a long run on empty, but you also don't want a full stomach. It's a delicate balance. A banana and a little peanut butter, maybe a piece of toast. Just enough to get blood sugar up without weighing you down.
Right. We've done the cutter, the builder, and the runner. But what about just living? What about the person who isn't chasing a PR or a physique stage, but just wants to feel good and not die young?
The general health mode, or as I like to think of it, maintenance mode. And frankly, this is the hardest mode for a lot of people.
Why do you say that?
Because there's no adrenaline, there's no event to train for, there's no scale number to chase. It's just Tuesday. Consistency is harder than intensity.
That is so true. So what does the guide say is the strategy for the long game?
It calls for a balanced approach. It's really the greatest hits of nutrition. A mix of fruits, veg, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats.
It sounds simple, but the visual cues in the source material are really helpful here. It shows salmon, walnuts, blueberries, spinach. It's incredibly colorful.
And that color is data. In nature, color usually signals micronutrients, different antioxidants, different vitamins. By eating that variety, you're ensuring you cover your nutritional bases without having to track every microgram of vitamin C.
The guide outlines 3 rules of thumb for this mode. Let's run through them. Number 1, portion control.
But catch the nuance there. Monitor sizes to maintain weight without strict calorie counting.
I like that distinction. It's moving from strict accounting to intuitive management.
Exactly. It's just knowing what a serving of rice looks like so you don't accidentally eat 3 servings. It's awareness, not obsession.
Rule number 2, limit processed foods.
This is the 80-20 rule in disguise. The guide notes these foods offer little nutritional value. It doesn't say never eat a cookie. It says don't make cookies the base of your food pyramid.
Right.
For general health, you just want to minimize the inflammatory, sugary stuff that messes with your energy levels.
And rule number 3, regular meals.
This is all about metabolic rhythm. Eating at regular intervals supports a healthy metabolism. It keeps your blood sugar stable.
So no skipping breakfast and then eating the entire fridge at 7 p.m.
That is the anti-pattern of general health. That creates stress on the body. We want steady inputs for steady outputs.
So we've unpacked these 4 modes. Fat loss is about volume and satiety. Muscle building is surplus and repair. Endurance is fuel and electrolytes. And general health is balance and consistency.
It really just highlights that there is no best diet. There is only the best diet for right now.
It brings us right back to that let's roar concept. It's about viewing food as a tool.
Yes. If you have a task to do, you pick the right tool. You wouldn't use a hammer to tighten a screw, and you shouldn't use a marathon runner's diet to try and lose body fat.
I love the idea of the engine. You have to fuel the engine you have for the race you're running.
Exactly. You wouldn't put diesel in a Formula One car, and you wouldn't put rocket fuel in a minivan. The food itself, the sweet potato, the chicken, the Gatorade, it has no moral value. It's not good or bad.
It's just fuel.
It's just fuel.
Yeah.
The question is, does it match the engine?
That is such a liberating way to look at it. It takes the guilt out of eating. It stops being about, I can't eat this, and starts being about, I choose to eat this because it helps me do X.
That's the roar philosophy.
Yeah.
That is taking agency. You are the predator, not the prey. You decide what the goal is, and you execute the nutrition plan that supports it.
So for the listener who is standing in their kitchen right now, maybe looking at the fridge and feeling a bit overwhelmed,
Right.
What's the one provocative thought you want to leave them with?
I would tell them to look at their next meal, literally look at the plate, and ask one question. Is this meal feeding my hunger, or is it feeding my specific goal?
Ooh, that cuts it deep. Because often feeding hunger is just about silencing a noise.
Right, a bag of chips silences hunger. But feeding a goal requires intention. I'm eating this protein because I lifted today. I'm eating these carbs because I'm running tomorrow. If you can bridge that gap between just eating and eating for something, you've won.
Intentional eating, becoming the lion. I love it. I know I'm definitely going to think twice about my post-podcast snack.
Just make sure it matches a goal.
Always. This has been such a clarifying conversation. It really helps cut through all the noise.
Happy to help clear the path.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. And in the meantime, let's roar.